Hey everybody, welcome back to your free TV. It is Friday, June 19th, 2026, TGIF. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to jump right in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution, protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. So I'm so glad to be back with you here on a Friday. Always love a Friday. It's been an incredible week. Incredible wins, so much great going on. Let's start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for Barbara joining monthly support. And I'll just let everybody know it's cheap. It's a great way to keep this channel going. It's on a shoestring and you make the difference. So thanks so much. So we're going to jump in with the news. It's been an incredible overnight and day. So much is happening. So I'll put on the glasses and we'll just dive on in. I think I'm just going to start with the biggie. Okay, we've got Tulsi Gabbard with everything Fauci crimes. We have so much that's happening here, but I'm going to jump in with Bill Pulte, okay, because against the rhinos, against the deep state apparatus, Trump stopping the confirmation of Clayton allowed Bill Pulte to get in today. And he arrived actually last night, in the evening, meeting with lawyers as he's about to do a mass firing. And this is just as Gabbard's about to release the giant, massive thousands of documents showing what a criminal, genocidal maniac Dr. Fauci is, and may he be arrested soon. This is enough information put out there for indictments and arrests. And we know he's over in either his, home out there outside Geneva, or he's in Israel. We don't know where he is, but his indictments should come soon because we've already put this out for years and years. Okay, and now with the official release from the Director of National Intelligence that he is a criminal, and I'll get into it. Okay, we'll put that aside for a second, but let's go back to Bill Pulte. So he arrives yesterday. So Bill Pulte is now acting DNI against everything that they didn't want. We have the Democrats saying they will never vote for the renewal of FISA 702, spy on Americans, claim that they're connected with foreign assets, right? And the Democrats will never vote 702 FISA in. Maybe it'll get revamped into some way, as long as Bill Pulte is the DNI, because they know he's gone after all the crimes to do with the fraud, to do with the housing, real estate, money laundering, plus the mortgage fraud, all of it. So that's with FISA 702 being pushed out, which is fantastic. And then you get that he arrives yesterday and immediately meets with lawyers to do with mass firings. Okay, so this is mass firings to do across, he's starting in counterintelligence. And just think about what that means. And just remember, Joe Kent quit. He was not fired, okay? This is an important situation to understand. And everything Charlie Kirk, it's an ongoing what's going on there. As far as is he, isn't he, what's going on, okay? Dastardly at best, possibly good. We don't know. Okay, so anyway, that's an aside. What I'm trying to get at here is going after counterintelligence at this juncture, after everything that just transpired with the Iran war, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's been called. All of the counterintelligence, everything that's going on here, as we're seeing with Section 622 of the SIAA or the NDAA, Section 224, fusing with Israel. All of this has come under massive, glaring, it's out in the open, okay? And we have J.D. Vance coming out yesterday with his huge statement about Israel, basically saying to Netanyahu and others, like, what is his name, Ben Gvir, the insane defense minister over there, who, basically Vance, maybe he's on a redemptive arc. I don't know, but I still on this channel do not believe he has the quality to be the next president at all whatsoever. However, he has come out and said, all of Israel attacking President Trump right now, they better understand that he's the only world leader and the most powerful world leader who has been supporting them, that on the world stage they are hated, and that they'd better shut up about criticizing Trump for ending the Iran war and demanding that they stop killing innocent civilians in Lebanon and pressing to take control of territory in Lebanon. And of course, what did they do overnight? More attacks on Lebanon. Okay, so this is ongoing, but very good statements put out by Vance on the international stage. Very, very awesome. But let's move back to Pulte. So Pulte gets there and immediately is saying, out of 1,000 people that are working for the counterterrorism um, uh, office, the National Counterterrorism Center, 300 of them are going immediately. So they already know, he's asked for a list of all the employees, but they already know that this is about getting the intelligence that was the wrong intelligence, okay, that has been going out for so long, that to get these people out, okay, and the deep state. And we have to wonder how much of this is connected with the Israeli Mossad influence here and all of it. So as we're seeing the shift and turn, we saw Trump come out today with the new Air Force One, the Qatari plane that has been revamped, and all of that. I'll get into that in a moment, but basically saying, in the past tense to Netanyahu, it was very interesting. He said we had a very great relationship with Netanyahu and Israel and around the Iran conflict, and basically past tensing it, which is important. It's important to recognize that. So, that is all ongoing here as Bill Pulte gets in. He gets into the office of DNI, and he is literally a wrecking ball for everything fraud, everything real estate fraud related, the espionage case I've been talking about now for 10 days or more to do with the Southern District, excuse me, the Miami district there in Florida, and also where you might have, where we want John McDonald in to do with the money laundering and fraud, to do with the espionage case coming out. This is espionage to do with election crimes, okay? First time in history. Huge, massive cases, these two, that is going on right now. So Pulte gets in, and so this is what he meets with lawyers last night, firing deep state saboteurs of the Trump administration's agenda, false intelligence, all of it. And people are wondering, worried, is he just going to gut the ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence? Is he going to gut that, or is he going after multiple agencies? Well, I think this answers that on some level, because the Counterterrorism Task Force runs across multiple agencies. Okay, it's from everywhere. CIA, NSA. This is people from all agencies, plus federal contractors, private contractors, all of it. So he's going after the apparatus. Trump has been asking, JFK style, not blow them to the winds, but gut out the deep state out of our intelligence agencies. So very, very exciting to get him in there, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more besides in the next few weeks. And let's pray he stays in there at least through after Labor Day, when our Senate and feckless Congress, our feckless Senate, our treasonous people, go on their lovely 6-week summer vacation. And so I think that Bill Pulte news is very, very exciting, and we keep up on it, and we'll continue on. And so I'm going to do a little waterfront before I get into DNI Gabbard, everything Fauci, the crimes, how we should all be just up in arms. Why haven't we till now? But basically, what it means that they're moving forward with her parting beautiful gift to the Department of Justice. Basically, this is released documents of taxes to do with gain of function research, to do with the federal, everything that was paid, and how Fauci, his lies to Congress, his history with these groups, and this is on the heels of her reporting of the biolabs and 40 in Ukraine. And we know EcoHealth Alliance, Peter Daszak, all of it, Baha'i Harvest, Joe Biden, Jim, yes, and Hunter, and all of this unrolling. And so we'll get to that in a moment, but I wanted to kind of cover the waterfront on a couple things here, which is this is very interesting because we know Noam was removed as DHS secretary, and we were wondering why, but it came out, oh, they're investigating a lot of stuff to do with the spending of money out of DHS. And I believe this is one of those things, and for entertainment purposes only, because we'll see what comes out of this. But basically, when we look at Noam and what's coming out of this new report, which is that $1 billion was spent by DHS and ICE under DHS of U.S. taxpayer dollar money to pay for these deportation centers. Okay, deportation centers. And only 7 of these massive warehouses were built, okay, and they cost $700 million. So $100 million per warehouse of our taxpayer dollars. And, this is it. And now they're looking to decommission them or basically sell them, possibly commercially on the market. So our taxpayer dollars pay for them, and now they might be sold on the open market. So this is total fraud. Again, this is fraud. And so why are they stopping the deportations? What's going on? Okay, this whole scenario is totally bogus, but the criminality here to do with our taxpayer dollars being rolled up in it and it going nowhere and it being $1 billion is significant, and it's news. I mean, remember Greg Bavino, the head of Border Patrol, who they, squeezed out with his like 40 years of experience, just, or 30, just incredible. And his, out of the Minnesota stuff that happened there in Minneapolis, where basically he's saying, no, people need to understand there's 100 million illegals in the United States, 100 million. Right. They came out the other day with the DACA guy, or this morning, who Mexican national, Abraham, somebody or another, that supposedly is in this, Fredericksburg, Virginia, Fed residential town Central, who was the kingpin of the attempted UFC fight, Teist attack that was going to go down, right, with the old Vanguard or whatever they're called, Vanguard of the old, right? And so, and we have 450,000 kids who are disappeared and gone, and Mayorkas nowhere to be found. All these criminals, and the situation of $1 billion of our taxpayer money for these detention centers that are now supposedly going to be sold on the open market. So this is stuff that we need to ask our representatives about. 202-225-3121 for your representative, and of course 202-224-3121 for your disgusting senator. So yeah, it is it's major, the steal that continues to go on. So let's get into, I think I'll jump into Tulsi Gabbard here for a second, because this is really important. Thousands of documents, and we know we've been doing this for years. We already know we have the whole Naomi Wolf, the entire release of the Pfizer documents, all of it. We already know the harms, but when we think back to the millions dead, the lives destroyed, the children's lives stulted and destroyed, the destruction of small businesses, the steal with Jerome Powell infusing $7 trillion into our economy to create massive inflation. that people continue to blame on Trump now because he can't instantly turn around the giant Leviathan ship that is this, as he's trying to attack the global control over worldwide energy, so that America actually has a chance to be in control for once of being the largest producer in the world, and to go against the City of London, and to go against the cartels and the economy of sin, that so much of it is energy. We're seeing in California right now. And just to remember, this is literally true. This is not a conspiracy theory. Literally, the Rothschilds own almost all, at least the large utilities companies in the United States. It's just 100% true. And I don't know if you've ever been hiking. You go out and you'll hit these like Department of Energy barriers, different places. The DOE is huge when it comes to mass security, the most sequestered and controlled part of our Department of Defense or war, whatever you want to call it, but basically massively controlled. And there was something that came out before I get into Gabbard, out of California, that is so insane, where California utilities companies are doing this situation where they're awarding $633 million of, I'm sure, California taxpayer dollars, hopefully not federal, but those poor Californians living through this insane, evil cabal economy of sin. Utilities companies awarding this amount of money, $633 million, to only LGBTQ certified companies. What? Like, what is going on here? Utilities companies, they're only awarding contracts to LGBTQ certified companies. Now, that's 100% illegal, 100% against the California Constitution, not to mention the federal Constitution, the Constitution of the United States of America. But basically, this is incredibly insane. Okay, this is what they call minority financial set-asides. Minority financial set-asides. It's like how in Chicago they're using the marijuana legalization, just transfer the economy of sin to the government. The taxes that come out of that are being used for reparations, okay, for Black people in Chicago. Okay, this insane minority set-asides, okay, that are completely illegal. And this crazy town thing, where utilities companies awarding contracts to companies that can show that they're gay, that they're gay. And how do they do it? They need to have like 5 letters from friends. Definitely, he's gay, she's gay, whatever. Letters from doctors, friends, or awards from LGBTQ, type things, organizations or whatever. I mean, it's so insane and so fully illegal. But that's what I'm talking about, of how crazy this is, and why the Department of Energy, this whole utilities cabal has to be destroyed. And hopefully Trump, we know that he is working on it, okay, massively, and that's has to do with the entire ripping out of the City of London from control of global shipping, and especially to do with energy. So as we look forward and we look to Gabbard now, her release of thousands of documents on Fauci, his direct role in manipulating the pandemic, creating it, and then manipulating what came after for the lockdown and shutdown of society, the genocide, the approved treatments for it. Him, of course, having hundreds, just tons of millions of dollars in stocks with remdesivir, which kills people. Basically get them on a ventilator and kill them. Give a hospital, I think it's like, it comes to like 71 grand per dead person that they were receiving of federal money. Again, Jerome Powell infusing $7 trillion through the COVID genocide into the economy to create massive inflation while the box stores got everything and the businesses were closed down. and everybody losing their jobs. Well, basically, what Gabbard's put out is, he lied to Congress. He hid the evidence of his role in funding the gain of function research and the origins of the virus being from probably likely Ukraine. And let me see if I can find this. But, has President Trump constantly referred to it as the China virus? He always said China. And people always thought, well, he's just talking about China, the CCP, and Wuhan, and everything that went out of there. I literally think I was the first person, actually, like on, I don't know if it was like Christmas Eve of 2019, but basically when this was coming out, just the reporting on the level 4, the P4 lab out of Wuhan, and that's just an aside, but basically what we have here with Trump saying China is that actually he's referring to China, a lab that is out of Ukraine, that was one of the labs that, let me see, can I find this? It was so good. I might not be able to find it tonight, but I'll get back to it. But basically, where you had Gabbard, she in her other documents to do with the biolabs, one of them was in this uh, CHYNA something something something, a Ukrainian name. It was China, it was like it was a Ukrainian name of this lab, and why Trump kept saying China is because he's talking about that place. And so it reaches into everything. It reaches into the, and I'm sorry I don't have it in front of me. I really meant to, but time and everything. I'll get back to it for next week because it's something I'm going to dig into. This looks like the staging of the coup in Ukraine by Biden et al. Trotskyite cabal of Nazis, that they literally, it was planned out of there. Okay. And people need to remember Ukraine at that time was considered the most corrupt nation in the world. The most corrupt nation in the world that everybody's cheered for, meant to cheer for, put stickers on their car and on their social media. The most corrupt nation in the world, okay, for trafficking of all kinds, drugs, arms, children, women, just the most organs massively, okay, and then this bioweapon situation. And of course, the oppression of the Russian identifying citizens of Ukraine with their heritage and the Eastern Orthodox religion of Russia, not Ukraine. Okay, all of this Ukraine replacement of the Russian Eastern Orthodox religion is hugely bogus. Okay, and so when we look at this and we see how this is all interconnected with all of it, okay, the Ukraine situation, what did Trump come out and say today when he was at Andrews Joint Force Base Andrews, where he's introducing the new Air Force One? Okay, he said that we are immediately going to now focus and pivot towards ending the Ukraine-Russia war. And what do we have from Ukraine the last few days with the G7? BOM being the heck out of Moscow, hitting a refinery in Moscow, straight right there in the belly of the beast in Moscow, going after, feeling that they have somehow gained permission to go and hit all of the, hit the refinery, and then the airport's closing down for hours, then hitting them again last night. All of this bravado is I think really behind the scenes permission, really permission for Putin to go and finish the job. Okay, to finish the job and to end the Ukraine war this way, end it one way or another, and that we're going to see how that goes on. I believe we'll be seeing in the next few weeks that there will be a lot, might play into the time of when our feckless, disgusting Congress and Senate go on their summer vacation to Martha's Vineyard and everywhere else they go, okay? Out of the country, probably, a lot of them, right? Because you never know what's coming for them. But basically, I think that might be the timing here where we're seeing a lot that will happen with all of this. But back to Gabbard. I know I squirrel around, do kind of the weave, as Trump calls it, but it's what I do. We look at Gabbard's ongoing touch points, and I've listed all the documents below, so you can link on there and take a look for yourself. But basically, she's saying this is very much a close intelligence operation, that Fauci was involved, interconnected with all the intelligence agencies, given full, master status there to tell them what their talking points were going to be, everything that came out with censorship around anybody saying elsewise, the shot being the only cure, basically, total manipulation of the origins, again, Ukraine, and basically the public lied to and censored, with him at the head of all of this, whether the censorship going down through Facebook, all of the social media, that he was at the helm, and total blatant lying before the Congress Oversight Committee on the pandemic, that he lied multiple times in his testimonies before Congress. I think we all know that's really true, 100%. And that multiple whistleblowers had come forward to talk about all of this, harassed, fired, lawfared against, and that she's putting all that out there for the public to see. So I think that is just fantastic, and great, because we've been asking for this for years, and now we get it. Okay, not just in a congressional hearing that goes nowhere if it's your Jim Jordans and whatever, but through intelligence, full release. Okay, so this is prosecutorial, through the DOJ, and of course, here we are in the wind with Blanche and whatever with the DOJ, but this is something, what can ever get us out in the streets? What can we ever do? This evidence is something that should be 100% why you call your senators and your representatives. And I won't repeat the number like I do so often on this video, but it's in the description below. And that this should be 100%, this massive cover up undermined Trump's administration, the recovery of the United States before the destruction of the Joe Biden steal and regime that pummeled our country, almost destroyed us. This must be what we, demand Fauci in prison, and that, and so many others. Okay, I mean, but it'd be great to start with him. Okay, and so let's go to another situation here that I wanted to talk about before we get going today. This is going to be a bit of a shorty, but I wanted to cover a few more waterfront things, and basically, yeah, I wanted to mention this. This is just crazy, but basically, what we're seeing now is this summer, all of the leftist NGOs, the Soros, etc., they're funding these social justice training camps across the leftist cities, where they're paying teens, they're paying them money to go and learn how to be, communist agitators, basically, and it's super creepy. Again, Natalie G. Winters, great heavy lifting here. I've linked the article below. You can read it for yourself. Part of this is the Education Justice Coalition. This is out of Vermont. We're seeing Bernie Sanders running around Vermont. Bernie Sanders, he's in New York City today, trying to push the Democratic Socialist candidate. In Brooklyn, New York, with Mamdani yesterday, huge rally of thousands. We're seeing the Democratic Socialist candidate in DC gaining the position. What is going on with our machines and our elections and our disgusting Senate that will not push the Save America Act? This is again the evil we're contending with. But the Education Justice Coalition, okay, in Vermont, funded. Remember how the NIH funded all the 450,000 children coming into the U.S. and being disappeared under Biden? Do you know who that was? That was Becerra. That was Becerra, Xavier Becerra, who falsely and fraudulently is at the top, going against Steve Hilton in California, okay, for governor of California. Before that, before he was NIH director under Biden, this is Xavier Becerra. He's the one who funded the 450 children coming in and being disappeared in this country, okay, and horrendous things happening to them. That is Xavier Becerra. And now he's running for governor of California. All right, people need to understand the history of these people. Before that, he was under Obama. Becerra, I think, was in charge of New York City schools, getting them into the DEI and getting them into, what was going to be coming. That then became the COVID. So very important for people to understand who we're dealing with. The Department of Health in Vermont, Department of Health, is paying this Education Justice Coalition. And the people in Vermont should be really pissed off about it because it's your taxpayer dollars. And then out of Wisconsin, we get Freedom Inc. Freedom Inc. paid with both NGO and tax money. That is, this is a camp for kids of color only. Same thing. It's all leftist propaganda. They're literally paying the kids to come. Okay. You ever go to summer camp? My family we didn't have money. And so, I went to like, a week of day camp, right? That's what I got. And that came out of my parents' pocket, which was like a big treat. I still remember the songs I learned there, shoo shoo fly pie, and that kind of thing, it was really fun. But people who, they send their kids to summer camp, right? This is crazy. They're paying the kids to go. And then the Odyssey, what is this now? The Odyssey Teen Camp. This is really, really creepy. The Odyssey Teen Camp. This is a protest training camp specifically, and it is about creating our own utopia. Okay, so what so many of us got in college, where it's like, oh, we could have like the perfect world, and we could be like the 1800s communists, communes in Europe and all this, and it's all happy town with our socialism dreams. They want to do this to the kids, creating our own utopia. And part of this is some witchcraft stuff where they're building effigies of the evil of capitalism, and burning them in rituals in these camps. This is what is going on. So I'll link it below. You can check it out for yourself. But very, very disturbing. And so let's see what else I'm going to cover. I'm not sure if I'm going to cover much more today. There is a lot more, but I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to keep this short tonight. We're all in this space where what's happening out there meaning God, in here in our hearts and our resonance, is that we are being uplifted in a way that is beyond our comprehension. There is something happening here that has to do with the quantum field. It has to do with the fact that people are less and less being able to be socially engineered. And we're seeing it all around us with, they have to pay the teens to go to the camp because otherwise they won't come. People are waking up, or else they don't have the energy because Fauci tried to kill them. Okay, so, they're either beleaguered by chronic illness, or they are waking up, and actually breaking through the matrix EMF field, and that there's less and less ability for these demonically possessed entities, that is the cartel Babylon, to get control over the population. They're losing it. We see it even as JD Vance is able to say to the world, hey, Israel, by the way, nobody likes you across the world because you're coming out as just a murderous psycho cabal. And it's now completely obvious to the American people, and you have less and less power to do what you're doing. But we're seeing it more than that, just really across the board, where people are losing their glee and tendency for evil, as it was so propped up in the last 4 years. and that it is dissipating. And God is doing this. And you can look at the astrology, you can look at whatever you want to look at. But basically, people are, having through the quantum field, our codes be uplifted. And this is God, okay, God's creation, right? That we have this situation of our DNA and what they call dormant or junk DNA, that is being enlivened and woken up in the quantum field, and that is what they're desperately trying to stop, right? They're desperately trying to stop it through their CERN and all their particle accelerators and all of their injections and their EMFs and the constant onslaught against us. And don't get me wrong, it is a huge war. We have some great other news coming out where at NIH there is, Bobby Kennedy with Dr. What is her name? Uh, Somebody who's working at the NIH, Dr. Herodopoulos, coming out and saying that, they have this whole council formed on Parkinson's, that is, she's calling BS on what Biden was putting out about let's get, big tech to take care of it. And she is now in charge of this council at NIH. And Maha report comes out and says that she says that no, Parkinson's disease, the central nervous system disorder disease, this is man-made. Okay, this is all about pesticides and toxins. That the number one thing that is harming everybody is about toxins, and of course EMFs and all of this. And she's saying that 87% of people with Parkinson's, this is caused by toxins, glyphosate, and other pesticides. And we know what's raining down from us with geoengineering, etc. And saying that genetics for the other 13%, it's not really reliable data, okay, because the damage to DNA is done by toxins in our environment. And of course, to our bodies. We're seeing, what is it, Life Biosciences out of Boston, where they did their first, their first longevity injection, gene injection into a woman to fight macular degeneration, right, in their eye and her eyesight. Problem that we've been having that is growing from the LED lights, the EMFs, it's destroying in the dimming of the sun, destroying everyone's eyesight, and of course the jabs, accelerating with that. And so, the answer where they were going with mRNA and genetic, all of this, we can absolutely do with what God gave us, which is all of the nature. There's an herb for that. Okay, there's an herb for that. And they're losing the hearts and minds because God is uplifting us, and people are waking up by the millions. And even if they're not fully waking up, they're not buying in. A lot of people just don't have energy to care, and that's very sad. And we hope to wake them up and help to enliven them, because we want humanity. This is all one for all, situation, and all for one. And so, we want to help our neighbors, we want to help everyone, but people are caring less about continuing with the demonic fight. And I'm seeing it all around me. I hope you're seeing it all around you. I think we're seeing it in the world, and that they're losing the fight of the people in Europe. Everyone is against the EU, the governments of the EU. We're going to see huge changes. We saw this really funny thing come out with Maloney, phony Maloney, baloney, out of Italy, the prime minister there, where Trump went on an Italian news outfit yesterday, I think, and he was saying, "Oh, Georgia Maloney, she just begged me for this photo op, and I really didn't want to do it, but she seemed really desperate, so I went ahead and did the photo op." And so she goes out then, and after, like, that's not true, and then has her foreign minister or her ambassador, who's a total hack, like just complete deep stater, cancel his trip to the United States this week. And I think that was probably why Trump did it in the first place. These EU total talking heads are losing their power. Humanity is waking up. And even though the fight's on with the Migration Pact going into effect, where they're going to try to push hordes of sub-Saharan African Muslims into Poland and Hungary and more into Ireland and all of it. People aren't having it. It's just losing steam. It's over, and I think we all know that. And so, you know, it's fantastic. It's fantastic, and we should be celebrating it because there's a lot more. We have to understand we're all quantumly entangled together. And as our spirits lift, as our genetics get woken up, it's a great awakening, right? And that we have this resonance, we have this effect on everyone around us. And so let's just keep, radiating that out. It is like our antennas, our DNA, our consciousness, our intentions. And just remember that the most important way to affect the future is having control over your thoughts and your actions. That your thoughts and how you think, okay, what you think about bigly, but also how you think, your intentions is what creates the future. Okay, they know this through all of their quantum computing, everything they've been doing for 50 plus years to do with game theory, all of it. They already know that if humans really they're not distracted by social media and reactivity and fragmentation and tiny tidbits of scotch tape together information, that if we use our cognitive thinking so much, prayer is so helpful for it. Using that is what affects the future. And it is by exercising our human God-given know thyself powers, okay, to be the incredible beings we're supposed to be as we evolve to the next level. God has us in this test to see, will we use our free will to be what we're meant to be. And people are more and more now, in the largest numbers in history, coming to understand this subtly and then more developed and more as the EMFs, as the digital, lockdown, the space fence, all of it is coming to fruition against us. But it is also not working. It's not working. So I'm going to be leaving it there. I wanted to leave this last thought. Great interview. I'll link below with Catherine Austin Fitts and Turtling Cash. And this is all about use cash, okay? Because part of this fight is going analog whenever you can and as much as possible, considering getting rid of your smartphone or only having it as an alternative when needed. Get a flip phone, and that's the way you normally do things. But cash. When we think of analog and we think of CBDCs and we think of AI data centers and we think of social, the social credit score control mechanisms that are going to come down. And look in this interview below for a great film that they do during it about the future under a social credit score CBDC system, where you're just completely locked in, full on surveillance in your own home. The only place you can hide is in your bathroom, and you have to report people and get them fined for any social crimes they commit in their what they say or do, etc. But this is the situation. Using cash is the number one most simple way that you fight it. And it is just basically because demanding that cash be accepted, it means that you're not going digital. It means you're not contributing to the creation of the AI data system. You're not contributing to the creation and the buildup of the CBDC, the digital ID, all of it. Using cash. Enough people demand cash. If 300 million people in the USA use cash, okay, then they won't be able to put these systems in place. Do you see what I mean? And that's where we are strong. So check out that video below because it is so fantastic. Humanity is awakening, so I want to leave you with that. I know I kind of went on a rant here at the end of the video, but it's because I know that I know we're awakening because I feel it, and I see it all around me. That what was holding all that power and anger and energy and fear isn't holding it anymore, and I think it's fantastic. And so I'll end with this. I'll just say, if you found something helpful and wonderful in this video and you want to support the channel, it's so appreciated. There's ways to do so below. And I thank you so much for it. And I also do have to thank my fantastic sponsor, c60evo.com. c60evo.com/YAFTV. Maybe I'll run the banner here real quick. This is the incredible miracle molecule that is ESS60, the purest, most incredible made carbon-60 that exists out there on the market, made in Houston, Texas, with proprietary ingredients, totally pure. The reason it's called ESS60 is because it's the only one that's truly human grade for how pure it is, with no solvents, nothing remaining in the manufacturing of this. And single sourced olive oil from incredible multiple generations of olive growers. Just this holds the most ESS60 of anything available. Okay, and so check it out, c60evo.com/YAFTV. You do need to go to my landing page to get the 10% off, which is the code YAFTV. Anybody who supports the channel gets 15% off, different code and link sent to you. I did a great interview with 2 of the founders of them yesterday. Fantastic, great information there. And as we're looking at these central nervous system disorders, these degenerative diseases, this is amazing. As you know, on this channel, I've been dealing with Lyme and alpha-gal and all this stuff. And you've watched me over these last few months. You've seen all of the struggles I've gone through, time I've had to take off. I have doubled the, well, not doubled, I've about gone 50% more. And, you know, I was taking the CMT, which I still am, the MCT oil, which is the coconut oil, which I love, but it only has about half as much. But it is great for workouts. It's great for the antifungal, all those properties of MCT oil and the, you know, paleo diet, everything. It is fantastic. But I've ramped it up and gone full bore here back with the olive oil. And it has helped me so much to go like next level and increase what I'm taking when it comes to all the neurological stuff disappearing, my energy coming back, my mood, you know, all of it. It is amazing, and just my own testimonial. But I know friends who have been surviving cancer for years and years that buy it by the caseload. It is also the same for people with central nervous system illnesses. Okay, think of lupus, think of MS, all of these things, Parkinson's. Incredible for what it does. And if you watch the interview from yesterday, you'll get more information about that. It was specifically about neuroplasticity and how the Evo gets into the brain, into the neurons, cleans them out, and keeps them healthy. Which is, you know, it is the basically it's it, you know, neurological health is everything, and I'm sure that you agree. So anyway, thanks so much for watching TGIF. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back if there's anything groundbreaking over the weekend. Otherwise, I will see you on Monday. Thank you so much for watching. And just remember, you are free. We are in this incredible time that is coming to save this country as we move towards 250 years. We were almost gone, and now we're literally coming back, and the Republic is being restored, and I celebrate all of it. So you are free. I'll see you on a Monday.